Welcome to our 6th annual Halloween barbecue cook-off. This year it actually occurred on Halloween Eve. Unfortunately, it was a little smoky hot. The barbecue grills were set up and ready to go. We had 4 chefs who were preparing, and of course our wonderful DJs, Allison and Joey, were prepared to spin some tunes. We had the decorations up. The balloons were out. The trick-or-treaters were arriving. The apron was prepared and eager for a 2009 winner. We had Mark and Suzanne doing a Scottish slider. Kim and Tom were in charge of judging. It was going to be a wonderful evening. Of course, no party would be ready without Adrian and Bill, Sweet William doing our photography. Chefs number 1 were Jeff and Andrew. They were doing surf and turf. They had their theme of surfboards ready. They had an exquisite meal prepared. And they had plenty of takers. The grill next to them were Suzanne and Mark, the authentic Scottish sliders. Tiny little hamburgers with pickles and cheese. And they had a little bribe for the judge, some free Scottish ale. People were screaming for their food. It was flying off the table. Next to them were our newbies, Rick and Trish. This was their first time doing a Smokey and the Bandit with chicken and wonderful goat cheese reduction over it. Now, next to them were the Tiny Ogres and Puss in Boots and the Gingerbread Girl. And who would forget the Muffin Man? Do you know the Muffin Man? He had his muffins ready, and I did see him eating his costume at certain times. We had little Shrek pumpkins all out. We were doing the Shrek theme here. Dried ice was pouring out of Shrek's name. And the Tiny Ogres were in their little swamp wagon. The Gingerbread Girl had her gingerbread cookies ready. And her costume and her little Princess Fiona. That was the pretty princess, and here's the ugly ogre princess. We were ready for the cook-off. We were preparing swamp fish over spinach. There was some conferring of the chefs. The tension was building. The judge was getting ready to announce the winner. And it turned out to be those little Scottish sliders. They won the barbecue pit. Mark and Sue, little Betty Boop, were pleased as punch. We did have a variety of guests, including Fifi the dog, Betty Boop. Ed was hosting the dessert table and in charge of trash. There's one of our happy judges. He was eating his little sliders. Other guests, Roberta, Gif, Ula, the Egyptian, Bobby, Naomi, Alan, our first timers. Look at these wonderful costumes. Is that a happy baby or what? There's Dick, who showed up for the party. Kim and Adrian. And that little Yuki wouldn't leave the gingerbread girl alone. Kathy was taking pictures along with Sweet William. Holly was there in her hippie outfit along with her little Nemo Javery. Neighbors Maggie and James looking 50-ish. Sally and Randall. Some were sitting around watching some TV. There's Scott and Dick. There's a happy family. Shannon, Hannah, Troy, and Brian. Natalie and Christian. There's some of the wonderful treats that others brought. There's Adrian's wig got a little hot and Billy had it on his head. The kids were out dancing. Kathy, a friend of Linda's, what a delight. We shared birthdays. There was plenty of romantic dancing taking place. And who could have a party without the Fockers? Mrs. Focker. There's Linda, another newbie. There's Doc Focker. Jim showed up with the family. There he was talking. He thought it was a Tootsie Roll. There's Jamie and Jamie. We had a little tribute to weddings since Kim and Tom were getting married on Saturday. As well as our DJs were getting married November 22nd. We had a bubble dance in honor of them. And there's our happy DJs. Oops, that was our photographer. That wasn't a DJ. Thanks to all the chefs, Jeff, Andrew, Trish, Rick, Sue, Mark, David, Kim, and me. The judging was excellent. The guests were charming and talented. Start preparing for 2010. Love to all. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.